In this video, we are going to talk about one of the most important early repertories, that is Therapeutic pocketbook by Dr. BOENNINGHAUSEN. Having recovered from a serious derangement of health in 1828, BOENNINGHAUSEN developed a firm belief in the homeopathic system of treatment. Being a practical man and a lawyer by profession, his logical mind was fully convinced about the results obtained by the application of the principles of similia. So he started working on his new healing art and came in contact with Hahnemann in 1830. At that time, there was a demand for discovering a device to index the ever-enlarging materia medica. Hahnemann had already shown the way by having one such index for his own reference, but even after his instructions and guidance, his disciples could not prepare a worthwhile index. At this juncture, BOENNINGHAUSEN picked up the gauntlet. He published his first repertory in 1832, named Repertory of the Antisoric Remedies, with a preface by Dr. Hahnemann. In 1833, he published his second repertory, that is, Repertory of the Medicines which are not antisoric. In 1836, he published Attempt at Showing the Relative Kinship of Homeopathic Medicines. Lastly, after 10 years of clinical experience, he published the Therapeutic pocketbook in 1846. The original name of this book was Therapeutic Pocketbook for Homeopathic Physicians to use at the bedside and in the study of materia medica. The book, written in German, was first translated into English by an anonymous person. Hempel attempted to translate it, but he was criticized for his careless translation. T.F. Allen's edited translation is the most valuable edition of his work. He dropped out 4 remedies, that is Magnetis ambo, Magnetis urticus, Magnetis australis and Angstera, and added some 220 remedies to BOENNINGHAUSEN's original 126 remedies, so that the number appearing in Allen's edition is 342. Allen also rearranged the book. In 1935, Dr. H. A. Roberts brought out a new edition of BOENNINGHAUSEN's Therapeutic pocketbook with a few minor changes and an elaborate introduction which facilitated the understanding and practical use of the book. Dr. Clark says Therapeutic pocketbook is in a sense the parent of all repertories and analysis of the materia medica. Philosophical background. BOENNINGHAUSEN held that a symptom should be complete so that it fits into the totality. Complete symptom, according to him, consists of the following components: location, sensation, modality, and concomitant. BOENNINGHAUSEN's attempt was to complete the symptom, but in practice, he found it difficult to do so. Therefore, he evolved the concept that what is true to the part is also true to the whole of the person. The following fundamental concepts form the bedrock of this Therapeutic pocketbook, that is, doctrine of analogy, doctrine of concomitant, evaluation of remedies, and concordance. BOENNINGHAUSEN's analytical mind came to the conclusion that to complete the symptom, the local modalities and sensations pertaining to one part should be applied to other parts. Thus, he raised local symptoms to a general level which could be used for the whole person. This principle is also called the doctrine of grand generalization. He indicated 5 ranks by the use of different typography in his repertory as follows. Capitals represented 5 marks and that belongs to grade 1. Bold represented 4 marks and belonged to grade 2. Italics represented 3 marks and belonged to grade 3. Romans represented 2 marks and belonged to grade 4. And Roman in parentheses represented 1 mark which belonged to grade 5. BOENNINGHAUSEN's keen, observant mind noticed that a relationship existed among the medicines. He referred to this chapter as the concordance of the remedies, but Ellen gave it a more comprehensible title, that is relationships of remedies. Plan and construction of therapeutic pocketbook. The whole book can be divided into 3 components: location, sensation, and modalities. However, concomitants are found scattered. Structure of the Ellen's edition modified by Dr. H.A. Robert is as follows. It contains 7 sections and 37 chapters. The 7 sections are mind and intellect, parts of the body, sensations and complaints, sleep and dream, fever, modalities, and relationship of remedies. You can go through the chapters by rewinding the video. Now let's move to some misplaced rubrics in the therapeutic pocketbook. Vertigo is present under mind and intellect. Unconsciousness is present under mind and intellect. Paralysis of optic nerve is present under vision. Beard is mentioned under external head. Parotid glands are mentioned under ear. Eyes protruding sunken are present under face. Wrinkles on the forehead are present under face. Desires and aversions of food and drink are present under hunger and thirst chapter. Hiccup is present in eructations and aggravation chapter. Diaphragm is mentioned under internal abdomen. Mons veneris is mentioned under external abdomen. Anus is present under stool chapter. Hemorrhoids is mentioned under stool chapter. Rectum and perineum are also mentioned under stool chapter. Abortion is mentioned under menstruation chapter. On the other hand, aversion to open air, desire for open air, and frozen limbs are mentioned under sensation. Hair of head falls out is mentioned under skin. Symptoms regarding nails are also present under skin. Anemia is mentioned under circulation. Burns, remedy for children, nursing children, disordered stomach, and for hard drinkers it is mentioned under aggravation. Injuries, women lying in purpural state, suppression of eruptions, suppression of nasal catarrh and sweat, pregnancy, stone cutters, and for women, these are also present under aggravation chapter. Now, arrangement of rubrics. This book deals with 141 medicines. The following points are important to understand the arrangement of the rubrics. The main heading is followed by rubric like in general and then follows different subparts. Sides are given toward the end as left and then right. Sensations related to the parts are given as separate subchapter immediately after the location. For example, eye followed by vision, nose followed by coryza, abdomen followed by flatulence. In face chapter alone, the sensation is given first, followed by the location. The location chapter are arranged as per the anatomical parts, whereas the sensation of the parts is arranged alphabetically. In all chapters pertaining to sensations, rubrics are arranged alphabetically. Now comes the adaptability. From the philosophy and construction of therapeutic pocketbook, it is obvious that the book can be used for the repertorization of the following types of cases. Cases with complete symptoms, cases with prominent sensations and modalities in some parts but vague in other parts, cases with prominent concomitants, cases with paucity of symptoms with scattered modality and no characteristics, cases where generals are lacking, and it is also useful to get related remedies. Methods of repertorization. The following are the 2 methods of working out a case with the help of BOENNINGHAUSEN's therapeutic pocketbook. The first one is Robert's method. After taking the case, the physician categorizes the important and relevant data under 4 heads, that is, location, sensation, modalities, and concomitants. Later on, rubrics can be arranged in the same order. The second method is modern method. According to M.L. Dhawale, the symptoms should be arranged in the following hierarchy. First, the causative mortalities should be written, then the general aggravations, followed by general ameliorations, physical generals, concomitants, and then the mentals for reference and differentiation. Uses of relationship section. It can be used for studying the relationship of remedies at various levels like mind, part, sensations, and modalities. It helps to find a close running medicine which can be thought of in future follow-ups if the picture changes. To find a second medicine if the first one does not meet with the expectation in a given period of time, relationship section is really helpful. Sometimes, a deep-acting medicine, though indicated, should not be given so as to avoid unwanted precipitation of adverse symptoms. Now, in those cases, an analog can be found with the help of this section. This section helps us to study various relationships of remedies. Kent has suggested a close study of subheadings and medicines listed against them. A remedy which runs throughout in higher marks bears a definite relationship with a remedy like aconite with sulfur, pulsatilla with silesia, and kali sulf. Now, special features of this repertory. It is useful at bedside and in the study of homeopathic materia medica. Relationship of remedies towards the end is unique and it helps to find all the related remedies of a case. The information and the source of information are most authentic and they have been verified by Dr. BOENNINGHAUSEN in clinical practice. The sensation and modalities chapter contains several useful rubrics which can be related to various parts as well as the whole person. The repertory has 5 different typography to denote the various grades of remedies. Though not all, but some chapters contain details of concomitants separately given towards the end of the chapters. Mental rubrics which are found in Therapeutic pocketbook but missing in Kent repertory are amativeness, mistrust, and befogged. Now this can be asked in MCQ form, so be prepared. Moving to the criticism part, it has limited number of medicines and rubrics, which is a criticism for the book. In some sections, we may find rubrics which do not contain well-known and important medicines. For instance, desire for salt. Now here natramur is not mentioned. Desire for smoked meat. Calcarea fos is not mentioned. Desire for chalk, lime, coal, indigestible things. Calcarea carb is not mentioned. Some of the medicines are repeated often and given undue importance in the book. For example, in the mind section, almost all the rubrics contain veratrum album in the higher grade. Mind section is not well represented in the book. There are only 18 rubrics under mind and 17 under intellect section. Concomitants of mental symptoms, a group of medicines appear under this heading, which is not very useful in practice. The book itself does not strictly follow the principles in construction. Indexing of the medicines had not been attempted. As a result, if certain medicines are not found under a rubric, then one is not sure whether the medicine is omitted or not represented well in the book. There is no fixed order in the arrangement of rubrics. There are misplaced rubrics, there are similar rubrics, and there is no rubric for general pain. Only specific types of pains are mentioned. Now, everywhere patient will not specify. For that purpose, there should have been a generalized section in the book. This book has not been updated, hence it lacks the information about Sarcodes and Nosodes. Now let's read what are Kent's views on BOENNINGHAUSEN's repertory. Dr. Kent was an ardent critic of BOENNINGHAUSEN's repertory. The modalities of the parts and those of the patient himself were all mixed together. The entire book is arranged with modalities, general and particular all together. Henneman considered the mental symptoms and the physical symptoms separately. He himself said that patient has modalities that are related to the patient himself and other modalities that are related to each of his individual parts by itself, Put them together and let them come out as they will. Everywhere in the book, Dr. Boenninghausen focused on the doctrine of grand generalization, which was against Dr. Kent's views. Now, generals were well worked out by Dr. Boenninghausen and much overdone, as he generalized many rubrics that were purely particulars. It is a fatal error to put one's mind on the part to be cured and to think of the other symptoms as concomitant. According to Dr. Kent, it leads one away from the homeopathic idea as taught in the organon. Thank you for watching.